If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Hey there folks, hi, I'm Spook Handy, and this is Woodstock Wednesdays. It is a real pleasure for me to be back in Woodstock, Illinois. The first time I was in town was at the 2018 Woodstock Folk Festival, and I got to hang out with really cool people and great musicians. I was looking for Bill Murray, I didn't find him, but I'll look again next time. Today I'm coming to you virtually. I'm actually sitting in my kitchen, which is known as Studio A, where I do my backstage with Spook Handy concerts on Facebook Live on Friday nights in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So today, January 27, 2021, is the 7-year anniversary of a very sad day when the folk music community, when America, when the whole entire world lost one of our great citizens, Pete Seeger. Now, I had the incredible fortune to perform alongside Pete Seeger more than 50 times in the last 10 years of his life. And this may come as a surprise to many people, but I didn't really know very much about Pete Seeger until I met him on Indigenous Peoples Day in 2003. So today, to celebrate the life and the times of Pete Seeger, I'm going to share a very small portion of what I learned about who Pete Seeger was and what he stood for. And I'm going to share a very small part of my Remembering Pete Seeger concert, which until the pandemic hit, I was taken all over America since the passing of Pete Seeger and right up until 2020, and we hope to continue it when the pandemic's over. So I didn't really know Pete Seeger in the 1940s or 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s or the 90s. I knew Pete Seeger from age 84 to 94. And Pete ended up not being exactly the same person he was in the earlier years. So I kind of have a unique perspective on who he was. I also didn't get to know Pete by chopping wood with him or sailing on the sloop Clearwater or the sloop Woody Guthrie on the Hudson River. I got to know Pete mostly, well, visiting his house a few times, but mostly backstage before a concert or on stage during a concert. And we must have talked maybe a total of 100 hours on the telephone. And we talked a lot about philosophy and history. And boy, I'll tell you that I learned a lot about folk music and about American history and so many other topics because of our conversations. So today I'm going to share a little bit of that. When I first met Pete in 2003, he invited me to the Beacon Sloop Club Pumpkin Festival. And we had been corresponding back and forth for a couple of weeks, couple of months. And I showed up, and I didn't even know what Pete looked like. And I asked somebody, I said, can you point out Pete Seeger? And there he was standing probably 15 feet away from me, leaning on a car. And I walked over to him and I extended my hand and I said, hi, I'm Spook Handy. I expected him to shake my hand and say, hi, I'm Pete Seeger. But instead what he did was he looked me in the eyes with these incredible, brilliant blue eyes. I felt the wisdom, the fierceness, the compassion, and I felt as if he was kind of like scanning me to figure out what kind of person I was. And he said to me, do you know what founder's disease is? Founder's disease. And I said, you tell me, Pete. And Pete said, founder's disease is when the same people who founded an organization 30 years ago are still running it today. And with that, Pete turned and walked away, and that was the entirety of our first conversation. I stood there feeling that I had been struck by lightning, and I said, what the heck was that? But I knew one thing right off the bat, that I had been delivered a mission to join in the efforts to conquer Founder's disease. Over the years, I learned quite a bit about how we do that. Now, musically, I'll say there's 4 things you can do that Pete told me and so many hundreds of other musicians. Learn the old songs and learn them the different ways they were sung by different groups of people. Change the words occasionally to keep them up to date. Write new verses about the world we live in today and write new songs that everybody can sing. Here's an old song. I'm going to sing it the old way it was written. In fact, it was written by Pete Seeger, and this is how he sang it, like this. Second verse. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd bring out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a song, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out a warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Well, I got a hammer and I got a bell and I got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Isn't this a great song? I mean, could you imagine somebody having the audacity to change the words or write a new verse? Well, I know someone who did. Peter Yarrow. In fact, I got an email from Peter today with this very verse that he wrote. And all he did was add one word. I still got a hammer. I still got a bell. And by God, I still got a song to sing. Well, I still got a hammer. And I still got a bell. And I still got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Boy, I wish I could hear you folks singing along. I sure miss that. Gee whiz. Golly gee, I hope you're singing at home. Well, so let's talk a little bit more about changing words. This is a tradition that's gone all the way back to very early times. One of Pete Seeger's greatest mentors was Woody Guthrie. And as we know, almost all of us know that Woody had a guitar where he wrote the words, "This machine kills fascists." And I think that Pete thought that was a wonderful message, but felt that it could be said in a way that more represented his feelings about how we can make this world a better place. And so he wrote on his banjo, "This machine surrounds hate and forces it to surrender." Pretty much the same message, but said in a much more palatable way. And Pete was like that. Here's a song that Woody taught Pete. And one little change of one little line says so much about who Pete Seeger was. You see, Woody sang, "Listen," and I'm pointing my finger for a reason, "listen to those steel rails humming." And Pete changed those words to, Can't you hear those steel rails humming? This is the Hobo's Lullaby. Coming to you from Studio A, backstage in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear those steel rails humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. Do not worry about tomorrow. Let tomorrow come and go. Tonight you're in a nice warm boxcar, safe from all that wind and snow. Won't you sing along? Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear that steel rail humming? Can't you hear that steel rail humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. That's the hobo's lullaby. I see your clothes are torn and ragged, and your hair is long and gray. But lift your face and smile at trouble. You'll find peace and rest someday. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear that steel rail humming? Can't you hear that steel rail humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. That's the hobo's lullaby. Oh yeah. I know the police cause you trouble. They cause trouble everywhere. But when you die and go to heaven, you'll see no policemen there. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear that steel rail humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. Can't you hear that steel rail humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. love that song. I love it so much. I think Pete and I may have sang that song more than any other one. I always requested it all the time. You know, and I recorded 2 albums. Songs of Pete, Woody, and Me, Volume 1, and Songs of Pete, Woody, and Me, Volume 2. And in Volume 1, Songs of Pete, Woody, and Me, Volume 1, Keep the Flame Alive. The theme was these 4 ideas. Sing the old songs the way they were sung by different groups back in the early days, change a couple words, write new verses about the world we live in today, and write new songs that everybody can sing. And that came out in 2016 and made it up to number 3 on the folk radio charts. One of the songs on it, my song Vote, made it up to number 2, so that's pretty cool. And in 2019, I put out Songs of Pete, Woody, and Me, Volume 2, dedicated to the proposition. Now, I'm going to take a little slightly different angle on who Pete Seeger was. A lot of people know Pete Seeger as an activist, and he was a political and social activist. But I believe, from my encounters with him, even more so, he was a community activator. He was a spiritual activator. And I believe that he was dedicated to the proposition that we have the tools that we need to shape ourselves and to shape our world. Now, we can shape our world with the hammer and the bell and the song that we sing and so many other tools, but he also sang a lot about shaping our own character, about changing the world by becoming the best person that we can become. He sang a lot about that. And I'm going to sing one of those songs that encompasses that. And also, I took Pete up on his challenge to write new verses. I probably wrote about 30 or so new verses to Pete's songs, or songs that Pete sang. Maybe a dozen or so of them are any good, but we sang some of them a bunch of times, and some of them made it on some of my albums. This one made it onto Dedicated to the Proposition, and when I sang this with Pete, Pete sang this verse several times himself, and I got to sing. It's the 4th verse of this tune here. Old devil rage, you once had your hooks in me. This song's called Old Devil Time. Old devil time, I'm gonna fool you now. Old devil time, you'd like to bring me down. When I'm feeling low, my lovers gather round and help me rise to fight you one more time. Old devil fear, you with your icy hands. Old devil fear, you'd like to freeze me cold. When I'm so afraid, my lovers gather round and help me rise to fight you one more time. Old devil hate, I knew you long ago. Then I found out the poison in your breath. Now when I hear your lies, my lovers gather round and help me rise to fight you one more time. Oh, devil rage, you once had your hooks in me. I bought your lies. Who's not angry doesn't care. But then I felt your rot seep deep into my heart, and now I rise to fight you one more time. No storm or fire can't ever bring us down. No wind that blows, but carries us further on. And you who fear, oh lovers gather round, and we will rise and sing it one more time. Songwriter Pete was. Holy cow. That song is so deep. You know, when I was producing that song, my producer, he's a bluegrass guy, and you know, and he plays bluegrass. He doesn't know folk music, and he's listening to this song, and he's just shaking his head and said, this song is so deep, so deep. Pete Seeger, remembering Pete Seeger. So folks, I'm gonna do one more song, and thank you for listening. My name is Spook Handy, and this is Woodstock Wednesdays. It's a pleasure to be back in Woodstock for my second time, this time only virtually. And if you know, as you are all aware, we are, most of us musicians are all, we're pretty squeezed economically here. So if you want to help out, you can go to PayPal, spook@spookhandy.com. You can go to Venmo @spookhandy. You can go to my website, spookhandy.com, and pick up a CD or two or a t-shirt. I'll get them out to you as soon as I can. And certainly send me an email, spook@spookhandy.com, and join the email list. Friend me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Here's a song that I wrote. I wrote a whole bunch of songs under Pete's tutelage. This one was not under his tutelage, but I am pretty sure you're going to hear how this song relates to Pete's message, because it borrows very heavily from the first song I sang today, If I Had a Hammer. And so today we've done 4 songs. One song done the old way, one song where we changed the words, one song where we wrote a new verse, and now a 4th song that I wrote myself that everybody can sing. I've written probably about 200 songs, and maybe, well, I've written 800 something, but maybe, 50 or 100 of them are good enough to perform out. This song I wrote the day after Election Day 2016. You can make of it what you will. I'll be happy to talk to anybody after a real concert. Come out and see me at a live concert somewhere in America. Check out my website, spookhandy.com. But remember, always, always, always have a song to sing. Justice, defy democracy, gag the press, make arrests, I would still be free, 'cause the bell of freedom in my heart will always have a place to ring, and will always, always, always have a song to sing. Always, always, always have a song to sing. Always, always, always have a song to sing. The bell of freedom in my heart will always have a place to ring, and will always, always, always have a song to sing. Now, some may fight among us, ask who here is to blame. Some will cry and wonder why, but let's not play that game. There's a voice inside of each of us. Can you hear it call our names? It's saying we'll always, always, always have a song to sing. Always, 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 always have a song to sing. Always, always, always have a song to sing. You know the bell of freedom in my heart will always have a place to ring, and will always, always, always have a song to sing. There is no time to hide, so let's stoke our inner fires and keep the flame alive. If we raise our voices up as one, we will not be denied, and we will always, always, always have a song to sing. Hey, sing along, here's a line. Always, always, always have a song to sing. Can you sing that? Always, always, always have a song to sing. The bell of freedom in my heart will always have a place to ring. The bell of freedom in my heart will always have a place to ring, and will always, always, always have a song to sing. I got this last one all by myself. Yes, we'll always, always, always have a song to sing. Okay, folks, there we go. Woodstock Wednesdays, Woodstock, Illinois, Spook Handy, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Wishing everybody a wonderful week, a wonderful month. Let's hope that 2021's a good year. Let's hope this pandemic is over soon. And let's remember the message of Pete Seeger, that we do have the tools, that if we participate and use those tools, we can make the world a better place. We can do that through our communities. We can do that through our own personal journeys. And folk music plays such an important role in that. Let's do what we can to keep the flame alive. Everybody be well. Spook at spookhandy.com. Feel free to leave a gratuity to help me pay my rent.